did you talk about at half-time?
To continue like the first half. I think we did a lot of pressure, had, how I say it, a lot of chances, and to believe that the ball will go in one chance we get.
They've been in such free-form scoring mode. Were you surprised that they didn't come out? They sort of sat back a little bit and played on the counter.
I mean, everyone who comes here, they're playing similar football like PSV today, but we knew they have the quality to kill us as well in the counter-attack. But we did amazing. Without the ball, we worked very well, compact, and yeah, only like this you can win games.
Well, it was your goal that broke the deadlock. Sometimes is it better just to stand still in position?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in this position now, last couple of weeks, and I'm so happy the ball came, of course, today there, and happy I scored.
Well, it was your first Arsenal goal with your right foot. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I think, because I don't know when I scored last time with right foot. Maybe it's the first in my career, but I have to check. But yeah, so happy. Doesn't matter which one or who is scoring. The most important, we keep winning. It's very important, give us a lot of confidence, and now we go for the next one.
Well, you have a smile on your face, but the whole squad seems to just be smiling. I mean, there's clearly a really good feeling around the camp.
Absolutely. I mean, when you win games, you have to be happy. Everything is going well at the moment, but as well, this is not coming like for a surprise. We are doing a lot of work during the week as well. Game by game, we are a lot of focus as well, and the players that come in that didn't play a lot, they are giving us a lot of good performance, and yeah, in the end, you win and you lose like a team, but at the moment, we are very dangerous.
Well, you've definitely qualified now for the next round, and a giant leap towards not having to play the February round again, which I guess was the target at the beginning of the night.
Absolutely, we wanted to go through after this game. We took it, and we are very happy.
Granit, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All the best.
Good story. They are. It is for Arsenal at the moment. The twinkle in his eyes when Brecky brought the moment of the goal up. I mean, like most of, I think, at Arsenal, he's kind of surfing on warm air at the moment.
He is, and in that role now as a midfield player, he's given a lot more licence to go forward. And, you know, in the old days, it used to be box to box, didn't it? Now we often think of someone that sits and then two others that fly forward. So it's choosing the right moment. I think against the opposition tonight, he knows he can do that. He can gamble a little bit. And he was just waiting for the opportunity, but the quality of the finish was outstanding. I know it's the first time off his right foot, but the technique was really very good on it. And I'm pretty certain he's going to enjoy that for some time, because we know he's had a difficult period at the club. He's well over that now, though. But he's just sitting there, just thinking, look, I just can go advanced. I can gamble a little bit. We've got plenty of bodies behind me, and I'll just wait in acres of space. No one really there. Jesus occupying the defenders, and he just comes onto him. It's just a little adjuster, and swings that. Well, it is his swinger, isn't it? His right foot for standing on. Never scored with it before in an Arsenal shirt, and he's certainly made up for it there. And he's just enjoying the moment. He's enjoying the momentum of the team. And he's really important right now for Arsenal's success.
He's done this all evening for Arsenal. He's tried to, get in those advanced positions into the box, add numbers to their attack. I think the difference in this, when he got into the box at this time, they had Odegaard on the pitch, and I think he made the difference. When Vieira was in between the lines and getting on the ball, he wasn't aware of players around him. And you've seen there Odegaard's pass. He was aware of his player, the overlap from the fullback. And then Xhaka's in a good position in the box. Jesus does a lot of work. He occupies the centre-half, as Martin mentions, and the ball sits up nicely.
Gutierrez was doing a really good job on Vieira, and he wasn't able to find the space. You're quite right. So when Odegaard comes on, there's that little relationship. Of course, Saka as well. Don't underestimate the build-up to that. But that had to be finished, didn't it? It was there to be put away, though.
We'll come back to Saka, of course we will. But what the folks at home won't know is that all those times that Granit Xhaka was creeping forward, we were sat here listening to Martin saying, get back, he's supposed to be helping Partey deeper in the pitch.
Well, that's what you want, is that balance, right? Because there was a little sniff that they might get something out of this game. But he got away with that. But that's what he's there for. Can he get forward and get the goal? But don't give one away the other end.
He's enjoying it more because he's given that licence this season to get that bit further forward as a midfielder.
For sure. It's that cat and mouse, isn't it? And as a midfielder, you hate it. When people keep running beyond you and you're that holding, you don't want to go back and face your goal. It's a difficult run to track as a deep line midfielder. So I think he's better at running forward than he is at trying to defend and press from deep. So I actually think it suits him that he has that licence. And you saw when Partey come on, actually his runs forward were more effective. I think he felt more comfortable when Partey
But he's got to do both.
Yeah, I think in moments. Yeah. I think in moments. And as I said, you've got to play the opposition.
Yeah.
But
there will be periods when he's got to come back and sit in front. And Arsenal do that quite well. When they're asked to defend now, I think that's something they've improved massively on. defending certainly the edge of the box. Sometimes it's in that transition, in that middle area, where, it's getting the bodies back to react quick enough.
He's been there 6 years and he's got 6 months left. So what do you do?
Interesting one. I mean, I think if they're successful and they win a trophy, he gets a new contract. Ordinarily, I think maybe he might disappear out of the back door and they might bring somebody else in. There's talk of maybe going into coaching. I think he's definitely got the leadership skills that are there. It's whether or not it's going to be at Arsenal that he does that. But Arteta will encourage that and develop that. He thinks he's an important player in that group and he's showing it right now.
And we'll hear from Arteta, but it seems appropriate then to talk, because you had a little glimpse of Arteta when you were at Everton as a player. And sometimes you can see the manager in the player.
Yeah.
Is that right?
For sure. I think you can see the small details, and we spoke about Saka's goal at the weekend against Leeds, and I heard that he started to tell his wide players and strikers you need to hit the ball a little bit higher, make it more difficult for keepers. But it was actually at the Everton Academy when we were there, and typically English coaches, and they were teaching the young lads to run for a ball, and they had a ball central, they were side by side, and the kids were just running in straight lines. And the detail that Arteta showed them was he matched up with the coach and he just said, let somebody say go. And he stepped across him before he then went. And I think it's those details that you can already see that he's delivering with these young players on the pitch. And just heard Xhaka speak about it there. They're not surprised by the performances of late because the detail that goes on the pitch that they're all taking on. So, yeah, you can already see it in Arteta. He's somebody that is obsessed with the game. And I think you can see that in his team.
Yeah, that intensity as well as clearly the knowledge that he's gained in the decades of being a footballer, now clearly a coach with a growing reputation.
And you could see that in the focus. We looked, didn't we, closely, Van Nistelrooy, when they came together.
Yeah.
There's a focus, not now, we can have a little cuddle afterwards, but I'm winning this game. I've been where you are, looking around the stadium, or a new manager. I want to win something. And he's on a bit of a mission. And I think he's just trying to keep that rhythm with the team, making, of course, 6 changes tonight. Not easy to keep that momentum. So I think the half-time talk was needed.
Yeah.
And then Arsenal then went into a few more gears and got the job done. It's just they've still got to get another point in this competition. But if they can do that and box it away, then they're in a really good place.
I'm sure Bukayo Saka is benefiting, as they all are, from Arteta and the coaching staff at Arsenal. But I feel like he's someone that, regardless of environment, would flourish. There's just so much natural ability in that boy.
Yeah, I mean, he's the most creative player. And as you said earlier I can watch him. I mean, every time you see him, the strength of him and the ability off his right foot there, he's providing assists. He's always involved in everything good about Arsenal. I mean, this is a ball now you think, God, this is really difficult. How's he going to control this? Defender thinks the same thing, gets too tight. And he just leans his body into him so strong, and he's looking then to do something at the end of it. And I just feel now he's just going from strength to strength. Look, knows where the space is, intelligent. There, the goalkeeper, really good save. But he just gets better and better every time I watch him.
For sure, and I think you can see in all of the clips here within the game, the difference in his play and how he mixes it up. And I think as a wide player, you can become predictable. I think what he is so unpredictable. You can see him here picking it up inside between the lines. Here he runs beyond and tries to stretch the back line and runs direct towards goal. I think this is, he probably saw Leeds all over again, but he went too low. But he does. He can take it in wide areas.
We have a World Cup coming up, don't we?
Yeah.
And I just feel now that he's going to be the one that Southgate's going to turn to on that position. I don't care who it is. They're not playing better than he is.
No.
He's really important right now.
Well, I think we were all little bit hearty-mouthed because he looked like he'd had a bang on that knee, calf, whatever it was. It didn't seem anything more than an impact injury, but you do want to wrap him in cotton wool a bit.
Yeah, but he's tough, and he'll keep coming back for more. And there's a huge game to go. Give him the rub downs, the massage, the right diet, and prepare nicely for the weekend because there's a huge game coming up there.
It must be tempting sometimes when you've got, of course, there are other good players at Arsenal, but when someone's flourishing as much as he is, it's almost like just go on
play
then.
him.
Yeah, and also just keep giving him the ball. Just fix this for us, Bukayo.
Yeah, definitely. I think certainly with Saka, I think he's somebody that is really important to this team. It's how you manage in between games. I think the game loading will be fine. I think players of his age, I think of this generation, they can manage that. It's what they do in between that to keep him fit so he doesn't pick up little injuries and little muscle injuries. Hopefully that was an impact injury and not a muscle injury, but he was holding his calf as he went off, and we saw how important he was not just for Arsenal, but for England when he come on in that game against Germany.
I think there's a lot of work being done with the likes of Smith Rowe, El Neni and all these other guys because they're really needed right now, aren't they? Because really you would like to be juggling this with other players. So Martinelli or Xhaka has to start, one has to come on. Jesus starting tonight. There'd be other clubs maybe where that wouldn't be happening. And this is a level down now, isn't it, from the Champions League? I know they were knocked out by Rangers, who nearly made it to the Champions League themselves. So that PSV is the harder game. I get that. But he's having to use virtually everybody.
Yeah.
Everyone's having to get minutes from the best 11. And, that's a difficult game for him to play. He's mastering that very well at the moment, those selections. It's not an easy thing. You bring in the players on at the right time just to give the energy that's needed to get the results. So this takes quite a bit of managing.
But we didn't see a lot of PSV, certainly not of Gakpo, bits of Simmons, but Noni Madueke, who came on as a sub, caught the eye.
Madueke was very exciting. I think when he come on, he changed the dynamic of this PSV team. I think he was direct. You see here, initially, as soon as he comes on, he's wanting to go beyond the defenders. Arsenal didn't have to do defending in these areas the whole game until he come on. He gets himself into the box. And I just think he gets half a shot away there. But it was every time he was on the ball, you felt something was going to happen. He carries the ball really well here and really trying to make something happen. I think if they'd have brought him on a little bit earlier, for me, that's a foul.
It's a foul, yeah.
That he got away. It's the awareness here. He wasn't good at just driving. Look at his pass that he finds here. He just slides it between. And he didn't have that the whole game, PSV.
A better ball there, and there's a finish, an easy finish.
The cross, but even from deep areas, he's in countering from deep and getting his team, which ends up with a foul on the edge of the box. But he caused problems. I think in the return fixture next week. I think if he was to start, it could be a completely different game for Arsenal.
Yeah, young English boy. He was at Palace and Spurs as a youngster, rumoured to have turned down bigger clubs with respect to those two, Manchester United among others, to take his chance at PSV and play more regularly.
There's some real talent. And it's interesting looking, the only games they've really lost this season have been away from home. So if they perform at home, as they normally do, then it's going to be very difficult. You can see the quality that they've got. It's just tonight, so much was about defending that when they pressed that button to attack, it wasn't really happening.
Yeah.
Well, Mikel, 3 points. Was that another challenge in having to find a way through tonight?
It was. I think we had really good moments. I think we're very dominant in the game against a really good side. We lacked that final pass, final shots, too many shots off targets in really open situation that we could define better. But very happy to win again, and we are qualified, which is the first step.
You've shown many qualities in the last couple of games, but was tonight showing patience and perseverance?
I think so. And in Euro, you have to control the opponent because they are really talented. They are used to winning in their competition. The amount of goals they score in the last 4 games is incredible. And we need to be cautious, and don't start to take unnecessary risk or lose our shape. And I think we're really composed and mature in that sense.
Well, sometimes it just takes a moment of magic, and Granit Xhaka provided that tonight. How good was that goal?
It was great, obviously, with his right foot and half volley for Granit to score that goal. But he's getting in those positions every single time, every single game, and that's why he's scoring goals.
Bukayo Saka seemed to have a little bit of a knock. He carried on. Is he okay? I think everyone held their breath.
Yeah, I think he's okay. I think he will be okay, yeah.
Well, look, as you said, that does put you now 5 points clear, in control of this group. But is the pressure still on next week to get the job done?
Yes, and as I said before, when you have the chance in Europe, take it. We've done our bit because we are qualified right now, but obviously the difference finishing first or second is big, and we want to get the job done.
Whatever happens at the minute, you seem to be able to find a way through and win. What do you put that down to?
Our willingness to win, the way we are competing, the way we are playing, and I think the performance that we are showing are, in most of the occasion, giving us the right reason to be closer to win the games, and then we have to dig in. That's when we find our way as a team to do it.
Lovely. Mikel, thank you very much.
And there's the proof of an extraordinary start to the season across Premier League and in Europe. I guess, though, in some ways, Farah, the difficulty is he can't let them bask in that at all. He's got to keep finding a way to make them hungry every game.
He does, and you heard him say there in the interview that they're learning to find ways of winning. And I think if you look at the fixtures, and some of them are quite close, the 1-0s that they've been getting, certainly in the last 3 games, they were games last season that they would have probably lost, not even took a point from, because we heard they don't draw many games. So I think especially with the momentum they now have off the back of all of these wins, players buy into it. When you're winning, you get confidence, you start to trust. And I think you can see that in the players are really trusting and believing in what Arteta is trying to bring to this Arsenal team. They've got a crowd now behind them that trust in the process. I think that's huge. I think at Arsenal, for many years, they've been disappointed in an Arsenal team. I think that, having the fans on board, there's something changing in this Arsenal team and the Arsenal environment at the minute. 10
consecutive home wins on the bounce. There's an electricity now in the stadium, a unity that maybe wasn't there before. And I think the team were at boiling point, and the manager clearly doesn't want to drop down from that. Exactly. He wants to keep that going. While they're at boiling point, let's win these games. Let's make it easier for ourselves. Lots of pats on the back. That's what's coming, but they seem to be living with that quite well. And setting targets for this group's really important.
Southampton at the weekend, and we've mentioned PSV away. I presume his staff will be saying, get to that World Cup. Get to that World Cup with as maximum a picture as we can paint for ourselves. Then you can all calm down. I know, obviously, a lot of them have got to go and play in that World Cup, but as a manager of Arsenal, that's what he'll be saying.
We've got this elongated season, haven't we? So it's unique, where we have 2 seasons almost.
Yeah.
I hope we're not looking back and saying, well, without a World Cup, Arsenal could have been champions. I don't think that will happen. I think they'll just keep doing what they're doing and then hopefully pick up the pieces. You're hoping that you have a World Cup winner come back in the group. Maybe Jesus, Brazil win it, or someone wins it, and then you can just feed off that. But at the moment, there's a momentum. The club is completely turning around. These are the start of some really new careers. I know you want to talk about players' contracts running out and finishing up. There's a situation, isn't there, Matt, where 3 or 4 key players, contracts running out. But when you're winning and you're winning games and it's a great experience, why do you want to run away from that? People will want to be a part of the club. Point. And I think the way to galvanise the group best is by winning a trophy. Yeah. That's what big has to come out of this. Yeah. Lots of plaudits, but keep going till you win something.
Yeah. Xhaka we mentioned out in the summer, but the 3 very precious young assets, Saliba, Martinelli and Saka, are all up in 18 months at the end of the 23-24 season. As a club, you'd want that not to continue for much longer, wouldn't you?
Definitely. These are key players for this Arsenal team in terms of the growth, the age of them, as we said there, and trying to build teams around that spine there. I think it's important they get these players signed up. We talk about that. I think their next run of games, the only tough game, obviously they've got PSV away next week, but really only Chelsea is a game that you'd think will be a test for them before the break, before the World Cup. So I think going into that, and in January, I think they have to invest in January. I think they've got a great group of players at the minute, but I worry about their squad depth. I worry about if any of their starting 11, I know they've changed it in Europe, but most of the time in the Premier League, they seem to be playing the same starting 11. And it can become difficult, especially coming back from the World Cup, having lots of minutes in the legs. It worries me that the squad
I think
depth.
there'll be, Matt, I know about the players' contracts, and just sorry to intervene there, but players' contracts, it's one of those where they don't want to be held to ransom by the players, and incentivise the contracts. If you win something, we'll give you X, Y, and Z. But let's keep it sensible. Let's not have a situation where we might have had in the past where players are on huge amounts of money and it looks like maybe they're not giving everything for the club. I like it at the moment where these youngsters are in, they're given the incentive.
You sound like George Graham, Martin. The game's changed.
No. But you know on that, I think...
It's like getting blood out of the stone with you.
No, but the timing of in terms of age and the players that they have contracts with, we talk about the Aubameyang and the age of those and how they didn't perform. These players are young. These players are the future of Arsenal. These players, I believe, need to be nailed down now. I think it's a different situation.
Yeah, they'll invest in you. Yeah, Farrell Williams and Martin Keown, we have slightly jinxed this so far, or at least I did. I said it couldn't possibly be 0-0, and it is.
Yeah, it is. It's been, I think, tactically from both teams. I don't think Arsenal expected PSV to be able to sit back without the ball and soak up pressure, because we've so often seen them dominate games with the ball and use their front 3, stroke 4 to be creative. But Arsenal have had a lot of the ball, found it frustrated to break down a resilient PSV defensive line.
Yeah, and it wasn't until Vieira started getting into the game in those pockets of space. I think they've done it really well, actually. The distances between the lines have been really good, and it's been quite tricky. It's a 65% possession from an Arsenal, but 6 changes in the game, and I think it's affected the rhythm a little bit. But I think the manager just needs to be patient. The message, keep moving the ball quickly, and then when they get opportunities, they need to take them better than they have, certainly in that first half.
And the opportunities have been bits and pieces rather than kind of really clear-cut stuff?
Yeah, half chances in the final third, and Arsenal have been quite clinical this season, but we see here a good cross. I think Tini was waiting long. It took an age for the ball to come down. We see one here with Jesus. I thought he could have took it earlier. Set Xhaka on the edge. I think he could have done better. But they have been half chances. I don't think neither keeper in the half has been tested. Yeah, and it's not been like you see Jesus and he just drags it past that near post. I thought he would have opened up and maybe gone for the far post, and the one at the back post there, inches away from getting a head on it.
Saka's at the heart of most things good, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, wonderful talent. When he comes into that little pocket there, just there, look, really good defending, just to deny them. But as I say, you know, he's a young manager. I think it's about being calm, realising he's ready to make the changes, but keeping the same message. I expect Arsenal to go into a different gear second half.
And we all built up Cody Gakpo, and we were interested to see how he'd get on against Tomiyasu, who's had his numbers so far, by and large.
Again, I think really good, astute manager looks at this, and it was a good matchup. Tomiyasu, probably Arsenal's best out-and-out defender in a 1v1 situation. Look how dominant he is in the air. So he's a big boy, actually, and he's not really getting much joy. And then they're doubling up on him as well, Saka dropping in. And they dealt with that problem really well. They needed to, because we know what he can do. And they haven't allowed them, PSV, to really grow in the game. But look at this, though. If you give him any time and space, it's outside the right foot, lovely little ball, works in behind. So you can't switch off for a minute, but they've done that job well in the first half.
Do you think it's because it's Tomiyasu, or just he doesn't want to go down the outside, because we haven't seen that surge yet?
Yeah, no, I think that's his strengths. I think we spoke about it before the game, the difference in both sides, in him and Seamans and what they do. And Gakpo really, he likes to come in on his right foot. He isn't somebody that will beat you down the outside and get on his left foot. He likes to play and follow or cut in and use that right foot, whether it be delivery or shots. But there's loads of space down the outside. I'd like to see him push past and go down the outside. And I think he could create a little bit more if he did that.